The World 125 Championship final round in Japan saw Dutchman Pedro Tractor secure third place in the series. The quiet Dutchman was always one of the fastest in time training, but machine problems stopped him climbing higher. His is one of the few family teams now competing at GP level, with his father working as full-time mechanic. Tractor has now given up on the 125 chase and plans a change of direction for 1992.
I hope to finish with the first three is my last chance, I think, because I lose so much points. Yeah, soft track is my specialty tracks. It's going better on sand tracks than hard tracks because I live in Holland and they have only sand tracks there. And if I go practice, I have to go to outside of Dutch.
The sponsorship this year for your bikes, is this from Holland Suzuki?
Yeah, it's Holland Suzuki, and I get some special parts on the bike, and I think it's fast enough for me. And if you see the bike with Stefan have, I think it's the same.
And the 125 category, is you going to stay in this group for the next years?
I think going over to the 250 next year. I think it's over after this year.
Farioli KTM team number 1 Bob Moore finished second again despite a strong second overall in Japan behind Mike Kudrowski. The Farioli team is one of the smartest on the track with their distinctive Chesterfield clothing, and Bob Moore always upholding the good image. A recurring shoulder injury stopped him from putting vital pressure on champion-elect Stefan Everts despite his impressive riding style.
I've always had more of a love for motocross and for the World Championship, and I felt that in America, if you weren't going to race Supercross and be very well at Supercross, that it wasn't, you know, it's difficult to pick up rides and to have a good team in America. So as soon as I came over here in 1986 for the first time, I got an offer. I didn't hesitate to take it because it's always been my dream to ride the World Championship. I felt that this was the opportunity that I've always wanted to fulfill my dream, is to come and race the World Championship and win the World Championship. And I did have a good ride still left in America, but it was just more important for me to come here and to try it, and I did, and I'm here. I set out in 1986, not, you know, just kind of a learning year for me. I was still 18 years old and I was learning a lot, but I just told myself as long as I'm improving every year that I would be happy. And for the last 3 years, I went from 8th to 4th to 2nd in the World Championship. So as long as I'm improving or not falling down, then I'm very happy with myself and riding the World Championship. A lot of people ask me, well, are you American or a European rider? And I consider myself as a European rider because I have learned most of my technique now. The last 6 years riding in Europe, I consider myself a European rider. And I hope I am at the end of the day still right next to Stefan. I have no problems with any of when we want to go practicing, I always have bikes and mechanics go pick me up and fly to the races. The organization's for sure the best that I've had, and I'm very happy with the team.
Well, there they are, the most famous father and son pairing in motocross. World Championship winning father Harry, champion in 1981, and son Stefan, champion in 1991. In Hungary, the team lost 1990 world champion Donny Schmidt through injury. Everts collected his mechanics and bikes, then went on to give Suzuki their 24th world title. Suzuki introduced their 1992 machines at the Belgium 125 GP and promptly won with Everts. But with little time to test, Bob Moore closed the gap in England. But a week testing in Ireland soon sorted out the problems. Bob Moore is set to leave the 125 class along with Everts and Tractor, and all three will be a major threat to the main 250 Grand Prix contenders. For speed, there was never a lot to choose between the three, but since winning the world title, Everts has moved up a gear. Remember 1988, when a young Frenchman only just beat a Dutch rider for the 125 crown, then went on to become a major force in world motocross. Everts responded with a superb season after losing Schmidt, and with full factory support, you dare not rule out this mild-mannered Belgium.
From Motovision, the off-road video magazine, the complete 1991 set of videos, issues 1 to 8, together with the Christmas special, are available now for only $79.95, including postage and packing. From Motovision, P.O. Box 35, Truro, Cornwall.
Sandro Pusar, #1 in the ultra-professional Chesterfield Suzuki team of Michele Rinaldi, looked a safe bet for his second world title until the American Grand Prix. Suddenly it all went wrong. In the wet and slippery conditions, he lost his usual composure, a hallmark of his personality. In Sweden, for the penultimate round, he damaged knee cartilage, and a fortnight later in Japan, the crown was gone. The joker in the pack was Mike Healy, but he was no joke to the opposition, moving from number 99 to number 2. He confidently tells us only Jeff Stanton and Michele Franton passed him in 1991. Beneath the happy-go-lucky image, there's a very determined Yank.
Last year you was 125 and finished 5th in the world and changed over to the 250 machine. What's the main differences?
Just different style of riding on the bikes. 125's just pretty much pin it wide open and hang on and go. 250 you got to be, real cautious and perfect with your riding on it, because everyone's real close in horsepower on the bike, so it's more of a precise style of riding.
You've had a couple of meetings now to weigh up the opposition in the 250s. It's a very strong class to be in, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's the strongest class this year. There's a good 7-8 riders that can win on any given time. It just depends on who's got, the huevos to hang it out for the day. I think last year I missed a total of 6 GP heats and was still competitive. So it's
plenty of time left.
Yeah, it's a long series and there's not too many people that are that consistent every weekend.
You're only 22 years of age, and do you see your future doing the World Championships?
I see it for a couple more years. There's a lot, in life that I'd like to go and experience. I'd like to do car races and things like that. I've done, motocross for 19 years. I'd like to experience other things in life. But, the goal for now is still to be world champion, so I still got the drive. I made a commitment to a couple factories and big sponsors, and something I gotta hold out and do. I made a promise to them I would, so.
And what's the one thing you miss about the American scene that Europe can offer you?
Probably just the real consistency in the weather. It's always nice. I mean, if it rains in the States, it's only raining for a day, and it's pretty much nice all the time.
And what part of the States do you come from?
I live Newport Beach, which is probably 30 minutes south of LA. So it's real predictable weather there. Yeah, it is difficult. I was on the airplane coming over in February this year, and we stopped in New York, and it ran through my mind of skipping off and staying in New York for a couple months, but there's people, as I said, people that pay me to come over and do it, so I could stick it out in America and do it for a lot less money and a lot less excitement. I mean, I know a lot of people in the States that race and have raced for years that haven't seen Europe like I've seen it. So it's definitely an experience. I mean, when I get older, something I can tell my kids and just...
And maybe bring them back.
Yeah, this way, if I come back and, bring a family over for a vacation or something, I'll know where to go and how to get around, and, it won't be such a shock to come over. The foods, the languages, the borders are a pain. Just getting around is difficult.
And you tell me you're living in the heart of motocross land in Belgium, and you have an English mechanic, Graham Kent, I believe. You get on well with him?
Yeah, me and Graham get along really good. He was kind of a little skeptical at the beginning of the year. I've kind of had a reputation as being a wild man, like to go out and play, and usually used to have really long hair and tattoos and things like that. And so he wasn't too sure about working with me. But once we've worked together, and we're pretty much on the same level as being as serious as we can about it. So I don't know, I like working with him because he's not much older than me, and he knows when it's time to have fun and when it's time to work. To whereas having an older mechanic, he's already had his years of fun. He just wants to work.
While Heady played the jester, his countryman Trampers Parker played it straight. It worked. The former 125 world champion picked up his second crown and, to his delight, demoted Puzar. When we spoke to Parker, he was in typical down-to-earth mode.
Trampers Parker, particular interest to speaking to you is the fact that you've moved to Europe and you've got an Italian wife and family in Italy, and you've made Europe your home. Can you tell us a little bit about what got you over here and the European way of life and how it suits you?
I come over here in 1987, February the 28th to be exact, and I've been living here ever since. And 2 years ago I got married because I met my wife when I first came over, and we have a 2-year-old baby now, so I think that helps me live over here also. I don't find the European life much different from the American life, other than there's a lot of places closed. The Americans always open 24 hours a day. But it's always the same for me. You sleep in a bed like in America, you wake up. I don't see any big difference. So I can stay here or I can stay there. It doesn't matter to me about what place I'm in. I like the natural terrain tracks a lot better than I like the Supercross, because when you make a mistake here, you have a little bit of room to save your tail. But in the Supercross, when you make a mistake, you either have a wall on one side or you have the track that's coming back your way on the other side. So there's really no room to make a mistake. I think racing in Europe, you can race up to your early 30s real easy, whereas America, a rider's getting old in his late 20s. I don't think I want to ride until I'm 30 years old, because my plan is to make at least 3 more years, and I want to make them competitive, and I want to win those 3 years. But I don't want to just keep on riding, because I want to work with my kid and stay with my family. I've been riding ever since I've been 7 years old, so I've been around motorcycles for a long time. I'm very pleased with the machines. The only thing that went wrong this year was I broke my knee in February. So I didn't know what the riding was going to be like this year, and there was a lot of people that doubted that I would be back riding. I'm really starting to feel again like I felt in 1989. I feel like I'm unbeatable. And I'm happy about that, because I'm really motivated, and working with the Japanese has gave me a new motivation, because when Mr. Tronkenpolz died, I didn't find KTM anymore the same as of what it was before when he was there, and it was a family business. Right now it's a little bit different, and I'm a little bit more comfortable with the Japanese team at the moment. I think the factory bike right now could be the final piece to the jigsaw, like the KTM was in 1989. KTM gave me the moment of my life in '89, and now Honda give me the moment of my life again here in 1991.
Once again, we see an American on a mission, and in that mood, they're difficult to beat. The 250 World Championship was a brilliant one, full of superb racing and entertainment, and at the end of the day, Parker did just enough. Pekka Vähkönen, the likeable Finn, finally lost his number 2 plate after owning it for so long, but that was no surprise. During 1991, there were 11 GP heat winners. Marnik Beverts, Jeff Stanton, Peter Johansson, Dave Strybos, John van der Berg, Mike Healy, Michele Fanton, Pekka Vähkönen, Alex Pousar, Mike LaRocco and Trampas Parker all took victory laurels. However, while Britain's Rob Herring often showed enough speed to win a GP, he was never able to go all the way in the super tough 250 category.
Motovision video magazine, available from your local off-road dealer or by post from Motovision, PO Box 35, Truro, Cornwall. Credit card sales, telephone 0850 720 455.
Third in the series went appropriately to number 3 in the 1990 championship, Dirk Gerkens. We spoke to the tough Belgian before the British Grand Prix.
Yeah, I'm not quite pleased with my results now because I'm not still 100%, and if I can race like last year, I'll be on the number 1 position now. But yeah, if we say always.
And last year we seen you very strong at the end. Very strong at the end.
Yeah,
you had some good results.
I was very strong at the middle also in Hoogstone Park. I was second and third after Geboes. So
Hoogstone Park, is it a favourite circuit of yours?
Yeah, I like it very much because it's very heavy. So and I like the sand very much, so it's very good for me.
Well, thank you very much for taking time out to speak to us today.
Gerkens came to Hoogstone and won overall, proving his undoubted strength in the bottomless sand. The quiet man of 500 World Motocross, Jackie Martin, shocked a few people when mid-season his chances of winning the world title looked good. He surprised World Championship leader Georges Jobet with a late challenge, but at the penultimate round his challenge disappeared with mechanical failure. The KTM rider was destined for the number 2 plate, a slot the Austrian factory took in all 3 classes. Dave Thorpe was outstanding in Germany and Luxembourg, where he won both GPs, but his challenge for the title came too late. Thorpe, Jobet and Billy Lyles, riding here at number 6, all proved they could again be a force in 1992. Gerkens' year had begun badly, but typically the Honda rider came good at the end of the year to pull himself up to 3rd in the table. Tiny Walter Bartolini proved the big crowd puller on the bright yellow 4-stroke Husaberg. The Italian took the thumper to several point-scoring rides, often riding way over the edge. Teenage Brit Paul Malin was riding with number 11 in 1991, but ended up 4th in the world. It was an up-and-down year for the Kawasaki teamster. The highs included becoming the youngest ever British winner of a 500 Grand Prix. The lows saw him failing to score GP points when the pressure was on. Jeremy Watley, riding 55, switched to 500s in 1991, ending 12th in the championship despite breaking his wrist at the opening GP in Switzerland. Belgian George Jobé won the title, supported throughout by his family and wife. At the championship-winning Luxembourg GP, deposed champion Eric Gabors was waiting on the last corner to give him the #1 plate, and it was an emotional Jobé that was crowned world champion. As Gabors did in 1990, Jobé went to the final round in America and was the best European behind Jean-Michel Bayle and Jeff Stanton.
Don't miss the 8th and final round of the British Open Motocross Championship at the Fox Hill Motor Park, Swindon, Sunday, October the 13th.
The British Open Motocross Championship moved to the Northwest Centre, here to Curden Park, for what would be the final British Motocross Championship we would ever see here at this famous circuit. The circuit itself, a superb effort put on by the Northwest Centre, led by Arthur Wright, the clerk of the course, as the riders came down to the line for Moto 1. Rob Herring, of course, riding bike number 3, the Silklin Honda, one of the favoured riders. The 30-second board goes up. The riders prepare themselves for the start of this first race. It's heads down, throttle open, they all wait. The anticipation, the gate drops, they're away, up into that first set of corners. It's a Kawasaki charge at the front, and that looks very much like Jeremy Watley, number 10, the championship leader. But melee on that first corner, a whole batch of riders and down them, but amongst that lot was Robbie Herring. Well, it's number 10, Watley, the Action Workshop man, that has got the whole shot from Greg Hansen, number 29, also on a Kawasaki 500. As they fill in behind these two Kawasaki's on this opening lap, there you see number 10, it's once again Watley, Hansen. There's Paul Malin, number 4. Along the bottom straight they go. Malin now up into second and chasing Jeremy Watley, the former 250 British motorcycle champion. The back end there stepping out of Watley's bike, but Malin is on him. Malin will find a way through. The young 19-year-old Derbyshire man. Malin has now taken the lead, drops into the bomb hole, beginning already to pull a very large gap between himself and second place, third and fourth place men. David Thorpe is up there in the top 5 as well, but this is Malin, race leader. Jeremy Watley, second. He's hoping, without a doubt, to pick up some extra championship points here today at Curden Park. 53 there on the Honda, the white Honda. That's the Scot David Campbell. He's having a good ride, qualified well. Well, there's a charge on here. Robbie Herring picked himself up. He's at the moment knocking on the rear door of young Ricky Priest's Kawasaki 97. Priest, one of the up-and-coming schoolboys here in the British Open Championship at the moment. Former schoolboy, now riding full adult. But Herring took no time at all to slice his way past. Well, David Thorpe here tussling with one or two of the slower riders, and he himself not really perhaps as quick as we would have expected him to be today, but David, well, he's settling down into the race. Well, it was Malin that stayed at the front as the battles raged royal further down the pack. Dave there engaged in the battle with Stewie Coyle, the Welshman, as Greg Hansen tries to find a way around the inside of the former world champion. Thorpe hangs on and holds him off, but Hansen is determined. Hansen now relatively a part-time rider, and there it is. Wow, the power gets laid down in the back of that quacker, and he shoots through him in front of Dave Thorpe, number 5, the former British champion as well as world champion. Up out of the bomb hole they go. We've got a battle on here. That's number 3 Herring, but in front of him was the teenager Craig Prattley, number 15. We're back again with Thorpe. That's Stuart Coyle, the Welshman, number 6. The Honda 500 and the Kawasaki 500 do battle. Thorpe's still there behind Coyle. Now, There's Prattley, number 15, the 250 Honda, first of the 250s. He had Herring behind him, but we rejoined that tussle between Thorpe and Coyle, and the Welshman showing no signs of weakness to the former world champion, but Thorpe has got the edge as Coyle held him. No, Thorpe got that edge around the corner, picked up the extra bit of grip, and he powers away from number 6, Stuart Coyle. Oh, there's Prattley still, and he's got Coyle now behind him, so we've had some changes on those previous couple of laps. Gerard Smith, number 12, the Northerner, he's beginning to make a late charge. Second win for Gerard. As they mix it around the corners, Thorpe going through. Smith is in there as well. A real tussle around this circuit. A superb circuit, I must say, here today. For a one-day circuit, they've made a fabulous job of the track. Number 2, Mervyn Anstey, just went through on the ES. Thorpe, there's Smith, number 12. Anstey there as well. They're all beginning to bunch up at the latter stages of this one. Herring is the boy we have to... Oh, that front wheel nearly went then from Herring. Herring now dogging the rear seat of the Welshman, Stuart Coyle. Now, this is an example. 250 against the 500. What will be the outcome, I wonder? Herring on the inside, Coyle on the outside, and just look at that. Herring looks across cheekily as if to say, well, you may have 250cc more than me, but you watch me go, or you catch me if you can. Race leader, Paul Malin, he has this so firmly sewed up, all he has to do really is get off and walk home from here. Paul Malin, race 1 winner, and he's happy. Watley coming home in second place. That's 17 points to add to his already leading tally. Herring chasing home here with a whole bunch of others. Well, it really was a spectacular and a really exciting first moto, but they came down to the line for Moto 2, led by Jeremy Watley. Robbie Herring, number 3, well, his fortunes fare a little better in this second outing. Crashed in the first corner of the first lap of that first moto. Paul Malin, winner of the first moto. David Thorpe lines up beside him. Mark Banks, number 14 there. Stuart Coyle, number 6. Jamie Dobb, number 7, as Mervyn Anstey decides to take up some gardening. Number 2 on the ES. Well, the start is clear. We're waiting for the 30-second board. There it is. 5-second board goes up, in gear, clutches in, of course, first, heads down over the crossbase. The gate will drop, they'll be away. Somebody, it was Banks that caught the gate. Mark Banks, number 14, caught the gate as they pour into that first set of chicane corners. Well, let's take a look at that again in replay. Up they come. You can see Thorpe and Malin on the inside. Coming around the outside, Willie Simpson. There's 37, Neil Prince, the Welshman. Now, Greg Hansen went down. There's a tremendous pile of bikes and bodies on the far side. And Robbie Herring is amongst that lot. As the marshals rush in to pick up man and machine, they sort themselves out. Robbie Herring picks the Honda up and tries to get it kicked up any moment now. Jason Hicks in the background, number 83, another one of the up-and-coming youngsters from the schoolboy ranks. But it's disaster for Herring. He's gone looking for worms again. Kicks it up, it fires into gear. He's got a mammoth task. That's 2 in a row for Herring. He's going to have to do it all over again. But at the front, it's Jeremy Watley on the Quacker. Behind him on the ES, number 7, Anstey. Here's Malin. And a whole pack behind him. Hunt's in there. There's Thorpe, there's Dobby, there's Smith, Coyle. Oh, they're coming through fast and furious at the moment into the bomb hole. Herring making his way through from the back. Robbie Herring really knows how to make himself work at a motocross event. 22, that's Matt Gordon in front of him, the Grand Prix 125 rider. In fact, our highest finishing Grand Prix rider in that class this year. Well, the battle raged royal at the front for some time, but Brian Wheeler began to pull through yet again. Late starter, but he came on the gas late. Watley still there. It still was Anstey there in second as they start to pour through. Hunt. Thorpe is in there as well. Malin by this time had gone out of the race, had caught his foot on a post and had damaged it quite severely, as we'll take a look at in just a moment. But back to the race. Herring it is. Well, he's scything his way through. There's nothing that seems to stop Robbie Herring, the leader. Jeremy Watley, number 10. Anstey. Wheeler it is, as I said, late starter, but Brian finds his second breath very quickly. Hunt on the Castrol. Thorpe goes through on the Kawasaki, but the Suzuki's in front. The rest of the pack come through. They're waiting for Herring, and there he is. Already up into the top 10 is Robbie Herring. The battle rages at the front once again. Wheeler now goes up into second place. Hunt, first of the 250s, number 16 on the Castrol Suzuki. Thorpe there behind him, number 5 on the back of his shirt. Oh, David Thorpe's world-class aspirations this year dropped off just a little bit, but not this youngster. Robbie Herring, number 3, scythed his way through the pack now. Really does know how to come from the back of the pack. It's Watley, current championship leader, leading this second moto. Wheeler chasing him in second place on the KTM, the Sprite Alloys KTM. Thorpe in fourth. Hunt there in third, but here is Herring. Oh, clouts the post, takes his foot off just in time. Perhaps he should have a word with Paul Malin and show him that little trick. The rest of the pack come through. They're all in there, and they're in there trying hard. Coyle, number 6. Behind Coyle, that's Paul Cooper, 79. As the rest come through, Greg Hansen, who, as you remember, went down in that first corner with young Neil Prince. The leader, taking the last lap flag, second place man. Wheeler will be looking for a way past Watley before the end of this race. Hunt, third. Going so well on that Castrol Suzuki. Thorpe, fourth. Herring now up to 5th from literally dead last, 40 riders. Well, Anstey went missing, and Merv just got swerved all over by Jamie Dobb, number 7. Here's the battle for the line. It's going to be Watley, but only by a wheel, because, oh dear, Wheeler was there, and he was waiting to pounce. Well, Hunt held on to 3rd, Thorpe held on to 4th, and disappointed Herring, he held on to 5th place. Well, the mechanic of Robbie Herring, Harvey Beltran there, working feverishly to get that bike into full fitness for the start of Moto 3. They come down onto the gate for the start of that Just Moto. All clear is given, the 30-second board goes up. 5-second board is turned, they prepare to charge up that straight here for the last time really in an era here at Curtin Park, and we have a tremendous pile-up of bikes and bodies on the start of the straight. I'm quite sure who that was, but they seem to have got through the first corner safely this time, but not off the gate as it seemed. It's Herring. Herring has found the recipe this time. He's mixed it correctly. Hansen is there in second, Malin in third, Watley fourth, Wheeler fifth, then it's Dobb, Thorpe. They come charging through relentlessly, seeking a higher position. Smith is in there as well, number 12. Well, it's Herring, and embarrassing it may seem to many other riders, but this 250 bike seems to have more power than the 500s, as we've seen demonstrated when he took Coyle earlier. Malin in second place, number 4. Wheeler was there as well. Jeremy Watley hangs on with Greg Hansen, the part-time rider behind him. But Herring just stretched and stretched that lead. Nobody could match the pace or the power of that 250 Honda. Not even this youngster. Number 4, Paul Malin. Wheeler chasing Malin in third. Then behind those 3, it's number 10, Watley. Behind Watley, Greg Hansen hung on to the rear of Watley's Kawasaki. Thorpe still there. There's Ryan Hunt. Number 16 on the Suzuki 250, the second of the 250s. Herring comes through, easily takes the win, and looks what... Oh, well, I should wonder who he looks at, but he says, well, that's the way I should have done it before. Wheeler pops a victory wheelie past the checkered flag. We look back then for third-placed man. Well, not happy with it, but Jeremy Watley, he took third. Well, he's increased his championship position, and he's took the overall today, so what's to be unhappy about? Well, one youngster that probably is not happy with his performance today, riding Kawasaki number 4, Paul Malin. Let's go across and speak to him now.
Paul Malin, winner of the first race, fairly comfortable. After that, it all went wrong, yeah?
Well, I was going all right. I mean, it's like the best ride that I've had sort of last 5-6 weeks. You know, I've not been sort of that confident, I've not been aggressive or anything like that, so to win that first race was quite good. Second race, I was probably about 5th, 6th off the start, behind Wheeler. and a couple others, Jem, Anstey. And then I passed Wheeler, and then he tried to get me back, and then he went the one side, I went the other, and I just like caught my foot on a post. I didn't feel it straight away, just sort of like about 3 or 4 corners later, my foot just went numb, hot, and couldn't keep it on the peg. I thought it might die down at first, but it didn't. And you know, I couldn't change gear or anything, so I just came in. And like my toenail, where, like, if that's my toenail, it's like split round there, all the way round and underneath, and it's like stuck on, sort of in the middle there, so.
Quite painful.
Quite painful. And I wasn't sure if I was going to go out in the last race with it. I couldn't walk on it or anything. We taped it up, strapped it up, and like I got a boot on eventually. And I was just sort of sitting on my bike 5 minutes before we went out, sort of just wondering if I could shift gears. Going down to the start, I was a bit unsure, but then, you know, the first 4 laps of the race was okay. You know, you don't think about it so much, but I was just slipping so many gears, and that was it. But like, you know, I got over it, and then just had a crash at the end, and that was it.
Good ride in Germany last week, and when we spoke then, you said you would really like to win the British Championship now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean,
big step today towards that? No,
I don't think it's a big step. I mean, the people that are going to be in the championship at the end of the season still scored good points today. It's a small step towards it. I think I rode very, very nervously today. I rode very stiff. I can't put it down really to why I rode, i.e. badly. Although I came away with the overall result, I don't know why I found it such hard work today.
Do you struggle sometimes to put it all together? I mean, we always see Jeremy Watley as one of the most talented riders, very smooth. But you're telling me that there's days when you do feel stiff and you don't feel good on the bike? I
think it's maybe a difference between some riders having a bad day and still getting away with some result, and some other riders that when they have a bad day it's disastrous. And I really did ride. I rode really hard today. It's the hardest I've rode except for Hawkstone all year so far. The bike was giving me some like real grief in places, but these are the races that 30 minutes feels like 45. And today I had 3 45-minute races, I can assure you.
Right then, 1, 2, 3, Brian Wheeler, Robbie Henning, and the winner, Jeremy Watley.
Action Workshop's Jeremy Watley's successful season continues on Kawasaki, winning the overall at Curden Park in round 4 of the British Open Championship. Every time we race, you win.
Castrol Suzuki team manager Rob Hooper says he wants a foreign rider astride his machines in '92. Dutchman Edwin Evertson is favourite for the ride and is reported to be close to signing. Evertson's 8th place finish in the 1991 250 World Championship means he'd be given direct entry into the British Championship. Top private team Action Workshop are close to signing popular American Billy Lyles to ride alongside Jeremy Watley in the 500 class. That's despite Lyles' obvious love for his current home in Belgium.
I like it a lot here. I think it's much easier for my wife and the family. Most of the people speak English here. It's more relaxed. In Italy, we lived in an apartment with 5 other tenants in the same building. Here we've rented a house. We have a garden. It's a lot nicer for us here.
As well as courting Lyle's signature, Action Workshop team manager Julian Clark has been chasing several sponsors from outside the sport. His effort has secured a Mitsubishi for the team from his local dealer, Humphreys & Parks, ensuring a comfortable ride in the pursuit of championship honours. British teams wanted Mike Healy's signature, but the Californian is now going to stay in Belgium on factory Suzukis with the Sylvain Gabor's team, replacing American Donny Schmidt.
1992, big changes ahead?
Yeah, big changes for us. The biggest change is we're going to be riding Yamahas next year. And I'm really looking forward to that. I know Rinaldi puts in a good effort for the team. And the second biggest change is that we're going to move to Italy. We're living in Belgium. It's pretty easy right now. but we've heard that living in Italy is a big change, different. But we have to look at it the same way as we did over here. When we came from America, we looked at it as it's going to be tough, but we can handle it. And now we have to think, well, it's going to be tough again moving to Italy and adapting. But the team is there. It's based out of there. We'll be living in Parma, and we'll be learning Italian and trying to get along, eating some good food.
Another man switching to Italy is World 125 runner-up Bob Moore, who leaves KTM to become the third runner in the 250 Chesterfield Yamaha squad.
While strolling down a side street in Paris, we came upon these two bikes. Stacked beside them were boxes of factory parts labelled JS and JMB.
Somebody's nipped my Game Boy. If anybody finds a Game Boy, ring me.
Donkey Kong. I got a Donkey Kong.
I got a Donkey Kong.
Some swines nicked my golf game too.
Yeah. Nobody nicked my Donkey Kong though. When I find them, I'm going to kick the booty.
Oh, it's ugly. It's ugly.
Well, this our British Motocross to Nations team will doubtless be looking for a result to keep them still joking. Deadly serious American Jeff Stanton, who rode the 500 Honda for the US team in this year's Donations. Here's his thoughts on the Euro feelings.
People here hate us, so they don't want us to win, so nobody's here for us, so it makes it even better.
Yes, Bale this year, I think, had really a coalition against him, and it was more than just individual riders racing against him. There was many times they was ganging up on him. And
while Stanton feels the Yanks are not liked in Europe, DeCosta clearly stated how hard it had been for Bale in America. More on these events in issue 7 when we talk to the American team and Roger DeCosta. The Dave Watson Motocross Training School and the softly spoken ex-250 British champion invited us with our cameras to one of his training schools. Dave, as I say, an ex-British champion, an ex-factory rider and an ex-Grand Prix rider, takes these schools week after week up and down the country to pass on his knowledge to all the young riders and some of the older riders that he meets on his travels. Starts, cornering, jumps. This is just some of the vast knowledge that Dave has gained over the years. He can pass it on to you to make you a much safer and better rider.
Roughly this position and hit, as long as the bike is straight, obviously. You cannot hit bumps sidewards, flat out, and expect it not to kick you, because it'll spit you off. You've got to try and get your bike virtually straight when you're hitting bumps.
Enjoyed yourself?
Very. Yeah, it was brilliant.
Were you?
Definitely the best course I've been on.
Yeah. Does he come across as a good teacher?
Very good. Yeah.
And can you manage to put together everything that you've been told this weekend?
If I can remember it all, yeah.
But you enjoyed yourself?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Have you raced much before?
Well, I only started this season.
It's all our first
season.
So all three of you are first season? Yeah. And you feel you can go away this weekend and be more confident wherever you go?
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What did you find most difficult of all? I mean, what was the one thing that you found the most difficult?
Braking.
Late braking to pass.
Yeah, definitely. Got to do a bit more work on it, I should imagine.
Body condition good? I mean, are you a generally fit person, or do you like to get in the pub and have a few pints as well?
No, I don't drink actually, but I'd like to be fitter.
Yeah. What about yourself? What did you find the most difficult thing?
The big corner of the rut in it. I couldn't do that. It was a real deep rut, about 6 inches deep. Front wheel just kept on wanting to turn the other way, like.
And you just couldn't get the grips with it?
No. Out in practice just now, I come off a couple of times. Still can't do it yet. I just gotta get there though.
And you're just gonna keep plugging away into the right?
Yep.
And what about yourself? What did you find most difficult of all?
Going fast. Yeah, and braking. Definitely braking.
So you both found braking to be a problem?
Yeah. Braking late to outbrake somebody in the corner or something. It's definitely the hardest, I find.
And what club do you ride? AMCA, ACU? Or?
AMCA.
You ride AMCA?
Gloucester, yeah.
Gloucester Club?
Yeah.
And yourself, you're all AMCA?
AMCA, Cheltenham Club.
Cheltenham Club?
Yeah.
Gloucester Club again.
And you're Gloucester Club?
Yeah.
And the AMCA ruling of helping to put the tracks out, are you involved in that side of it?
Yeah, on Saturdays.
Yeah?
If you don't, you get a riding ban.
So you got to do it?
Got to, yeah, if you want to ride.
So you'd recommend anybody the Dave Watson Training School?
Yes, I would.
Well worth it.
Dave Watson, a successful end to another day's training school?
Yeah, it's been a good day, good bunch of pupils. You know, they've worked hard over the couple of days. I hope everyone's gone home happy. They seem well pleased with the school, so yeah.
I noticed the spread of age. I mean, we've got a 6-7-year-old out there right through to guys who are nearly 30. This must be pretty pleasing from your point of view to have such an age spread.
Well, it's pleasing for myself. It's also good for the sport, really, that we've got such a wide spread in age that want to learn how to ride motocross, you know, especially, you know, we've got young beginners who just coming into the sport, and we've also got, you know, old people who are like 28, 29, who are again just beginning the sport. So that's got to be good for motocross. So hopefully, they'll have gone away thinking that motocross is what they've got to do, really. We've got, like you say, we've got the good riders there. We push those a little bit harder than we would the ones who aren't quite so good, but it all mixes good, and no one held anyone up, which is the main thing. You know, everyone got on and you know, and proved to their own ability, really. Yeah.
And over the weekend, I heard you say that you would be more than willing to give them a training program, but only for those riders over the 15 years of age. You feel that is the time to start thinking about training and the body condition generally?
It is. You don't really want to be starting training any earlier. You know, the lads are only young. It's a sport. It's a game to them. You don't want to turn it into a profession where they've got to train when they're still at school. Once they leave, and if they want to improve, then they've got to start thinking about, you know, training. We tell them training isn't compulsory. If they want to enjoy the sport and not train, they don't have to. But certainly, if you want to improve, become faster, and be able to last the pace, you've got to train in this game. Yeah.
Well, Dave Watson, thank you very much for inviting us across to your school. We've enjoyed ourselves, and thanks once again.
Right, thanks for coming. It's been great.
Well, they load up their bikes. They've had 2 days of intensive training with the Dave Watson Training School. No doubt they'll now take that new knowledge onto the track this next coming Sunday, and the positions in the race will improve, and so will their safety.
The World Championship winning 1992 Suzukis have arrived. World champions 24 times, the most successful manufacturer in the history of motocross. Suzuki, simply the best.
British Motocross Championship, the Open class, moves to round 5 here at Boltby in Yorkshire, the home ground of the local ace Gerard Smith, who's riding here today. As we pick up the riders as they wait to go down onto the line for the start of Moto 1. Robbie Herring there in conversation with the ex-world champion David Thorpe, and here is Jamie Dobb, as always in good mood. Matt Bates, number 18, returning back after injury from that wrist problem that he's had. As they go down to the line, led by championship leader number 10, Jeremy Watley. Then it's number 3, Robbie Herring. David Thorpe, number 5. Paul Malin, one of the Yorkshire-born boys, number 4. That's Dobby, number 7. And behind him, and the hand, Mervyn Anstey, number 2. Brian Wheeler, number 8. Then it's number 14, TK Landscapes man, Mark Banks. There is your ace, number 12, Gerard Smith. Stuart Coyle, number 6. Ryan Hunt, number 16 on the Castrol Suzuki. Greg Hansen, 29. Behind Hansen, it's Eastwood, number 9. Then it's number 18, that's Bates. 24, the Yamaha lad, Warren Edwards. 15, Craig Prattley on the Silkleen Honda. Behind him, it was 79, Paul Cooper on the Yamaha, the import for this year. But they're down on the line for the start of Moto 1. 5-second boards up. That gate will drop any moment. And they'll be away. Here it goes. Up the hill they come, 40 of the cream of British motocross into that first right-hand corner. Down the hill they'll drop into the set of whoops, and it's Hansen from Wheeler. Then it's Watley. Then Anstey, Thorpe. There's Gerard Smith, the local lad, as the rest of the pack come through. Eastwood, Cooper, Prattley. So tightly bunched at the moment in these opening couple of laps. Boltby track here in Yorkshire, the second year in succession they've staged this Open Class Championship. Dobb going through there, number 7. There's Herring, so he's been in trouble. Ricky Priest, 97, beside him on the Kawasaki, but Dobby is in front of Herring, the two main 250 protagonists in this open class series. Watley goes through. Thorpe is there behind him. They go over the narrow bridge up towards those whoopie-doos. There's Gerard Smith, and no doubt the home crowd will be rooting for their lad. Through those whoopie-doos they come. Cooper, 79, he gets through there with no problem. Prattley behind him as the rest steamroll their way through, and Herring, well, he really powers it up. Keith Thorpe there, David Thorpe's father. But it's Watley that leads the championship, coming here to Boltby. Wheeler there in second. Then it's Hanson. Behind Hanson, it's another Kawasaki belonging to David Thorpe. Over the jump between the trees. Up the hill they go onto the veranda. Smith and Coyle, the two Honda riders, battling for the honours. Anstey, number 2. Kim back behind Anstey. Who will it be? It's Hunt on the Castrol Suzuki. And behind Hunt, Herring should be there, and there he is on cue. Robbie Herring, number 3, from a bad start, having to pour his way through the pack again. But it's still Watley that leads. Well, as they come up over the jump, there is Wheeler, beginning already to pick up the back markers. Thorpe seems to have now gone up to 3rd place. The track already beginning to rough up in places, but the battle is certainly on there. Stuart Coyle, the Welshman, coming through number 6, and there the spectators soaking up the sun here in Yorkshire. Anstey under pressure now from Ryan Hunt, and Hunt very nearly dumped the bike. Well, it was a win then for Jeremy Watley. Wheeler chased him home in 2nd. Thorpe managed to hang on to 3rd. And it was Greg Hansen that chased home in 4th place. Well, as we said, everybody's soaking up the gorgeous sunshine, and it really was a lovely day on this very, very picturesque circuit up here at Boltby. Disaster struck in race 2. The red flag was hoisted up because young Craig Prattley crashed over one of the jumps and had to be taken off the circuit to hospital. So race 2, and the result of race 2 was scrubbed. Race 3 down onto the line now. Robbie Herring starts his little gardening exercises as the riders line up to get this 3rd and final race of the day underway. 83 there, that's young Jason Higgs. He had a tremendous start in race 2 until that red flag went out. He'll be hoping for a similar result in this 3rd leg. Down goes the gate, up they come to that first right-hand corner. It's Wheeler, Brian Wheeler on the Sprite Alloys 500 KTM that has taken the initiative. Malin chasing there in 2nd place. Gerald Smith is also amongst that lot as they come down in the dust. Mixed around the 250s and the 500s, but it's Wheeler, number 8 on the bike, that's got it at the moment, from Malin, from Smith. Then it's Anstey, number 2. Behind Anstey we're looking at, yes, it's Hanson. Thorpe is there as well. Where is Herring? There's Dobb. Bates has gone through, but it's Wheeler that still leads. I wonder if this will be Wheeler's first British Championship win, indeed his first overall win. Down the hill, that's Malin and Gerald Smith together. Smithy going for the inside, and he shows Malin the door right by the post. That's Anstey behind him at the moment. There's Jeremy Watley, and there's Thorpe. These two were banging handlebars all day. Hanson there with Hunt on the inside. 37 they are, the Still Clean Honda rider Neil Prince as the rest of the pack come down the hill. But where is Robbie Herring? On cue, there he is, number 3, the British 125 champion. Wheeler in the lead. This could be his first win of the season. Gerard Smith chasing hard in 2nd place. Jeremy Watley with the bike trying to pitch him over the bars turn to turn. Thorpe closing on him. The whole pack up the hill. Hunt was there as well. Here's Wheeler. He'll be a happy man if he stays at the front. Champagne will be the celebration at the end of the day for Brian Wheeler. Gerard Smith riding well for his home crowd, and Watley still hanging on to that Kawasaki. Hunt, Thorpe climbing all over the back of that Castrol Suzuki. Malin going through. He began to drop back. Dobby, the 250 British champion. Greg Hansen still in there as well. There is Robbie Herring, number 3, charging his way through the pack. Well, indeed, he does make life hard for himself. Dobby with David Thorpe, the 250 against the 500. It looks as if the 500 got the better on this occasion. Paul Malin. There is Herring catching Malin's got Thorpe in front. Well, he caught him by the end of the race, but there's your winner, and he's happy. Brian Wheeler it was, number 8. Second, home and past the checkered flag, number 12. Gerard Smith, the local lad. Behind Smith, it should have been, and it was, number 10, the current championship leader, Jeremy Watley. Well, indeed, yes, behind in 4th place, number 16, Ryan Hunt, the Castrol Suzuki rider. Oh, Robbie Herring, he caught David Thorpe. They came together on the last lap, and Robbie Herring took a little detour through the woods. But uninjured, he returned back to the paddock, just a slightly bent machine.
KTM congratulate Moore, Healy and Martins, who all finished second in the 125, 250 and 500 World Championships. KTM, the only factory directly supporting all the World Championship classes. Congratulations to Brian Wheeler, who wins round 5 of the British Championship. Earlier than usual, the 1992 Suzukis were made available to the press. First, we had to get Castrol Suzuki teamsters Ryan Hunt and Julian Rawson off the bikes. Every year changes are made, some minor and others more extensive, and 1992 is no exception. To increase sales, the Japanese manufacturers have an awful trick of taking a radically new idea, whether it works or not, and putting it into production, and then improving it every year. This was the case with the upside-down forks. 1992 looks like the year when, in terms of performance, the USD forks look set to match the 89 conventionals. New multicolour graphics and seat cover gives the bike a new look, but underneath it's much the same as the 90 and 91 models. Suzuki have spent the last 3 years developing the machine, and it's now very close to perfection. A new wraparound fork guard will greatly improve fork seal life. The show of forks that Suzuki have again chosen are greatly improved. This shot shows the new castings that house a better seal and bearing system. The fork slides and springs have swapped position, and this seems to be a major step forward. The water pump is neatly tucked away to prevent damage. Improved intake and exhaust port timing smooths out power delivery. Gear shifting is even slicker with an improved clutch. There are wider foot pegs for better control, and twin radiators fit neatly into this slim, stylish Suzuki. Stefan Everts took delivery of the 1992 prototype production machine in June at the Belgian 125 Grand Prix. Although leading the World Championship at the time, Suzuki were keen for him to clinch the title on the 92 bike. Stefan won the Belgian 125 Grand Prix on the machine's debut ride, and then he went on to win the World Championship. Don't be fooled by the way the bike looks. It's an all-new frame and a radically changed engine that Suzuki hopes will be a winner in 1992. The power plant comes in for some dramatic changes, with intake and exhaust running in a straight line to improve power and efficiency. A new clutch and stronger gearbox complete the engine modifications. For strength, a box section frame eliminates flexing. The radiators are lower and have better guards to protect these fragile and expensive parts. The overall impression is that the bike seems smaller. Better brakes, suspension and wider foot pegs all make the bike an outstanding package.
The 1992 Suzuki RM80 remains unchanged. To be fair, the bike is very good. It's easier to ride with a wide spread of power and a smooth delivery. The gear shifting is excellent, the clutch is light and manageable, and brakes are good. It handles really well. It's probably one of the best Staties available, but it looks dated with old-fashioned plastics. The radiator is far too big, so it gets damaged very easily when crashing, something I experience all too often. It's still the only 80 with a power valve, which gives it that edge over other manufacturers.
Those were the views of the youth rider. Now let's turn to a former Grand Prix star and see what his views were.
Rob, Andrew, you've had 3 or 4 hours here today testing the Suzuki 125 and 250, the 1992 models, for Dirt Bike Rider magazine. What's your thoughts on the two machines?
Well, we spent quite a bit of time on them. We've been to 2 different tracks so far. We've been to Chippenham and then here at Ellsworth. So that way we can try them on 2 different surfaces, sand and then a hard track. They're very impressive. It's difficult to compare them without any other bike for comparison. You know, we've only got the Suzukis here today, so we can only get an initial impression. The real test will come when we do the shootouts later in the year, when we've got all the other brands, and then we can, you know, say exactly which one is the fastest then. It's a bit difficult to tell which one is the fastest when you just go by memory of a bike you rode maybe 6 months ago. But they're good. The first thing I noticed is the suspension is excellent, particularly on the 125. It's really got good forks and good shock, particularly on sharp square edge bumps, which is where every other bike I've ever ridden has really struggled. Very stable at speed, very strong motor, the 125. Possibly a little bit more mid-range and top compared to last year's, from how I remember last year's bike, and very impressive. The 250 also is you know, really nice bike. I'm quite a fan of the Suzukis. It too has got excellent suspension. The back's working maybe not quite as good as the 125. Both bikes have got really good forks though, and you know, yeah, they're impressive.
The day that they've laid on for us, testing at Chippenham and then over here to Ellsworth, we've had a nice lunch in between as well. We got Japanese technicians here on hand. Is that the sort of way that you would like to see every manufacturer prepare its test days for the riders and the press?
I think so, yeah. You know, they looked after us really nice. In spite of the fact that they've taken us out and given us a nice meal, it doesn't mean that we're going to say the bikes are good if they're not.
No, absolutely.
But at Dirt Bike Rider, we believe in giving everything a fair test. If there's a problem with a bike, we will say there's a problem. And that way it gives the magazine credibility, and it doesn't make us look like we're just giving good reports to the people who flatter us the most. But yes, it has been conducted very well. We've had a lot of mechanics here to set the bikes up for us. We've had nothing go wrong with the bikes, and they've been very helpful. Let's hope that all the other manufacturers follow suit, and you know, we'll make sure the bikes are in tip-top condition when we do test them.
Paul Hunt, ex-British 125 champion, have you enjoyed your day?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, we've had a really good day. Lovely weather, and Suzuki have put on a really good show.
Is this the way you feel the bikes should be laid out for the press and the riders to test?
Yes, it's very good. They've even brought over a couple of Japanese technical men to tell us what they've done and what they haven't done, and no, Suzuki this year, they seem to have really tried hard. Yeah, it's very good layout.
And the machines themselves, the 1992 125 and 250 that you've been playing with?
Yes.
Impressed with them?
Yes, very impressed. Last year's 1991 Suzuki 125 has been the bike of the year, and I'm very surprised to say that the 92 is even better. The little problems there were on the 91, they've got to grips with and done a good job on that, and it's an even better all-round package.
And you've raced the 91 125, yeah?
Yes, I have.
And how much different does this 92 feel? Tell us the main differences that you can tell immediately.
The main difference is on the suspension. Last year it came a bit too hard, and a lot of guys, including myself, have had fork and shock work done on our bikes. This year they've come a lot softer. The front fork has changed a lot, and they've improved it vastly. They've also improved the guards on the front forks. There was a lot of problems in 91 with the fork seals leaking, but now they've got a lot better guard and a lot better seal. So I think they've done that. That was a really big bugbear with 125 Suzuki owners this year.
And the motor, is it stronger? Can it be stronger? Can they get better?
I didn't think they could get it better, but it is definitely slightly stronger. I know they've beefed up the clutch and the gearbox. They've made improvements.
Chris Benford here testing today for Motocross Rider. Have you had a good day?
Yeah, smashing day. It's been really good. I think Suzuki have made a big effort today, leading the way in other manufacturers, you know, showing them how it should be done. 2 tests, 2 different tracks, sand track, here today on a hard track, you know, this afternoon. A really good opportunity to see how the bikes perform under different conditions.
And the bikes themselves, which one have you enjoyed personally the best?
I think because I've been out injured for a while, I enjoyed the 125 a little bit more because I found it a little bit more manageable. But I think that the 250 seemed to be the more improved bike to me. The 125 was, again, a brilliant bike, but the 250 seemed to be just that bit more improved and more rideable, and I think that I enjoyed riding that to feel, you know, feel the improvements on it.
What do you race yourself?
Or a 250 Honda.
And how do you compare the 250 Suzuki with the one you're racing at the moment?
Difficult question, a different sort of bike. As they are out of the crate, the Suzuki, I would say, is a better bike, definitely, for the clubman especially.
And the little 125, you've enjoyed that. Is that because, you like you say, you're not really quite fit enough?
Probably. I like to think I was fitter than I am, but the 125 Suzuki was a brilliant bike last year, and I think they've done nothing but improve it. I couldn't even pick a fault with the bike, you know, perhaps the suspension was a little bit hard on the back to begin with, a little bit over-damped, and due to newness, as soon as it got off some of these jumps, it was a lot better. I really couldn't fault the 125 or the 250. I thought they were both excellent motorcycles, excellent.
Well, that's the view of the motorcycle press, and this is the team that will race the 1992 Suzukis. We thank Suzuki for the cooperation that they've shown in arranging press test day. Dunlop manufacture a full range of motocross tyres to suit all conditions. They are the choice of world champions Trampus Parker, Stefan Everts, and the undisputed world #1 Jean-Michel Bayle.
From the north back down to the south, round 6 of the British Open Class Championship to Torrington here in Devon. And special thanks must go out to the clerk of the course, Brian Higgin. With 3 days of constant watering, and the water bowsers were out at 6 p.m. on Sunday morning, dust surely would not be a problem here at Torrington. Race conditions were quite slippery in practice, although the track dried out and we were in for some fantastic racing in the afternoon as the riders went down to the line for the start of Moto 1. Gerard Smith, number 12, hoping for a good result today. 14, the TK Landscapes man, that's Mark Banks. So they're on the line waiting for the 30-second board. They're on the Suzuki 66, you see him there, Jason Rennie, the first time he's qualified for this Open Class Championship here today. He'll be looking for a result. Number 11, Julian Rawson, returning from injury. Dobb beside him. 83 beside Rawson there, that's young Jason Higgs, but the 5-second board is now up. The gate will drop, and it does, they're off. Heat 1, up the hill. Who will it be? Anstey is there, Wheeler is there, it's Anstey, Herring is in there as well on the 250. Into that first left-hander. This is where it all counts. They're through, it looked like Herring, but we've got a few down. Man and machine on the deck, they pick themselves up and get away, but it's last place for this unfortunate character. Anstey, number 7, leads it away into the whoops for the first time. Jason Higgs is there in second place. This is a phenomenal result, but he nearly lost it. Malin in there as well, and Malin gets it all wrong. There's Banksy. And there's young Jason Rennie as well, 66. He's keeping a good place. And the rest of them come over the jump. Herring has had another poor start. He had that corner first, but he's obviously made a mistake somewhere because he's way down the pack. Very slippery at the moment as the track starts to dry out in this first race. Greg Hansen right behind Herring there, trying now to take him on the outside. But it's Malin that leads into those whoops again. Picks his way around the slippery corner, up over the tabletop. Malin, the young 19-year-old Kawasaki teamster. Dobb, fellow Derbyshire man, in second place, number 7. Then it's Anstey. Wheeler, he's at the moment behind Anstey, so we've got a battle between those two. Herring is there as well, lurking, with no doubt some very serious intent. But the battle is on at the moment between Anstey and Wheeler. Wheeler on the KTM, Anstey on the ES. Malin back at the front. That's where he likes to be. Keeps the pressure on. Question now is, can Dobb, the first of the 250s, catch the 500? Wheeler has found a way past Anstey, and so has Herring. So where has Anstey gone? Malin. Now, one of our motocross donation riders. He'll be riding the 500. Dobb behind him. He's another one. He'll be on the 250. Herring will be there as well on the 125. So you've got the motocross donation team at the moment, 1, 2 and 3. Oh. Well, that's Mark Banks trying to remove posts. There's Paul Cooper, 79. He's having a pretty good season. First season here in the UK. But it's Malin at the moment. Dobby there closing in second place. Can he catch him by the checkered flag? 250 against the 500. Wheeler's on the charge as well. Well, Herring now has dropped back. Herring made a mistake through the whoops. And it was quite a painful one. There's Stuart Coyle, number 6. Herring dropping back now to about 4th. Coyle hoping for some good points. But here is the 20 points man, Paul Malin, number 4. Wins Moto 1. Dobby it was that came home in second spot on the Yamaha, number 7. In third spot, it was Brian Wheeler. Another good result for him. Number 8 on the KTM 500. And back in fourth, there, number 3, Robbie Herring on the Honda. Well, Robbie explaining to his mechanic Harvey that he swallowed a stone and it very nearly choked him, but a little bit of a drink. We'll soon clear that away. Well, one of our pretty young spectators reading the programme, finding out what's coming up next. Well, I can tell you, Mark Banks, number 14, there he is. Well, his best finish of the day was 5th, and 25 points took him into 6th overall. Dobby there, best result was 2nd with 38 points, so put him 5th overall on the day. Jeremy Watley, number 10, well, he finished 4th overall, and his best race result was a 3rd. Paul Malin, 3rd overall, had a win, a 2nd and an 8th. Well, his teammate David Thorpe, unfortunate, taken to hospital with a suspected broken ankle after the first leg. Brian Wheeler, great ride with 2 thirds and a 2nd, 2nd overall, but this was the man on the day. 2 wins and a 4th, 55 points, and it was Robbie Herring on the Silkerline Honda that stood on top of the rostrum in 1st overall position.
A nice welcome, ladies and gentlemen, for Honda's Robbie Herring. Oh, incidentally, boys, you're having a copy of the new issue of the Motocross Vision tape.
Trampers Parker and Georges Jobet win the 250 and 500 World Championships. Rob Herring leads the British 250 Championship. Rob Herring wins round 5 of the British Open Championships, riding a 250 Silkerline Honda, the bike for champions.
The penultimate round here at Crawley in Sussex, the 500cc British Motocross Championship. Crowds wait and have a chance to pick up those treasured autographs from 1 or 2 of our star riders. Well, the riders lined up for the presentation of the top 10 in the championship so far. In 9th position, and our apologies to Gerard Smith for missing him in 10th position, here's Mark Banks, number 14. Mervyn Anstey in 8th position, at 123 points. A man that's no doubt highly delighted with giving Damon Bradshaw a good run for his money in the Motocross Nations, Jamie Dobb on the Yamaha in 6th position. Ever improving, the Watton underage rider, number 8. This is Brian Wheeler in 5th position. And despite riding still with a twisted ankle, lucky that it wasn't broken at the previous round, of course, the former world champion and the former British champion, David Thorpe. The most outstanding young rider of 1991, here he is. Paul Malin, number 4, 3rd in the British Championship at the moment. He could still win it. Robbie Herring, the sensation of 91 as well, riding the 250, the top 250 in this class. He's in second position with 214 points, and he could still win it. But the man that leads the championship and hopes dearly to take the crown at the end of the day is this rider, Jeremy Watley, number 10, with 251 points. One more round to go. Will it be his championship? Well, he leads the riders down onto the line for Moto 1. Points here today mean everything to these riders because, as I say, the next round at Fox Hills Motor Park could be the round where we crown either one of those two. It's Robbie Herring or Jeremy Watley. David Thorpe slots in between them. Brian Wheeler comes round and looks for a grid. Well, this is a new lad on the line, 159. This is Kelly Swanson, another one of the team youngsters. ACU finalist in 1991 and the winner of the ACU Schoolboy Finals. He's in this grid of these adult riders and he's waiting for the gate to drop along with the rest, and it does. But Wheeler catches the gate. That's going to put Brian Wheeler way down at the back, but the charge is on into that first right-hand corner, and it's Robbie Herring. Robbie Herring has got a whole shot. Hansen is there. There is Thorpe behind Anstey, but Herring has gone off that line like a rocket. They come through Eastwood there with Smith. Watley, Dobby's there as well. There's Coyle. Then Gary Hughes, 158. 79, that's Cooper, he's in there as well. Bates is with him. Hunt is coming through on the outside. Banks is there also. Barry Johnson is in there as well. Young Neil Prince, 37. Behind Prince is Edwards coming through on the outside. Wheeler, who got off the gate last, goes through. Malin is in there. And Darren Dooney coming round. 49. Well, that's the first time he's qualified. He'll be happy. Well, Herring it is at the front, unstoppable and certainly at the moment totally uncatchable. Hansen, Anstey, Thorpe, Smith, Watley, he needs to get higher for the points. Eastwood, Dobb, Coyle, the Welshman, going in underneath Dobb, trying to get past him. Well, there's young Dooney. Malin's had an awful start, right down the back of the pack. Well, he can come through from the back. He's done it before, but he'll never catch this young man. Number 3, Robbie Herring on the 250 Silkaline Honda out front. Hansen it is there in second spot. Anstey's still there. Smith is still there. Watley's trying to put a little bit of extra pressure on the riders in front. No pressure on Herring at the moment. Nice and smooth. Through the ruts he goes. Thorpe picks his way around. I wonder how that ankle is. He's now got past Hansen. Watley's lurking. There's Anstey. Smith after Anstey at the moment. This stuff really is close. Dobby, Eastwood, Coyle, neck and neck. Cooper, 79. Back at the front with Herring. Stops the bike in the corner, breaks it, puts on the power and jumps it out. Oh, Thorpe does very much the same with not quite the same result. They all seem to do the same. Use the back of the berm almost as a wall and stop the bike in it. Smith, number 12. The RWJ's diesel man. Number 7 there, the Mitsui man, Jamie Dobb. Oh dear, Cooper there getting caught at the back of Eastwood's bike. Coyle almost trying to make the better of that one. But Herring out in front, to the delight of his supporters. He has got a lead of a mile. Barring mechanical failure or rider error, Herring has got this one well and truly sewn up. Second place and third place men going through. Thorpe there and Watley, number 10. His fourth place, Greg Hansen, 29, with Anstey in 5th right behind him. Over the hill they go. Gerard Smith right up behind in 6th. Then it's 7th for Dobby. 8th here for Paul Cooper. Coyle behind him there in 9th. Here's Eastwood. Back after injury, number 9, Mark Eastwood. Up over the jumps he goes. Mark Banks, number 14. Back with the leader. It's Herring, number 3, and look at that bike fly. Watley now up into 2nd. Thorpe down now to 3rd. They watch on as this unfolds in front of us. Hansen comes through. Dobby comes through. Smith comes through. Anstey, Coyle, Cooper with his best result so far, and it's Robbie Herring, number 3, that takes the win. Second place then for Jeremy Watley, 3rd for David Thorpe, 4th for Dobb, 5th for Smith, and 6th place it was young Stewie Coyle. Well, they seem happy about the result. Well, here's a lad, Kelly Swanson, out for the first time with the big boys, the top schoolboy lad. Here's the second one, Darren Dooney, qualifying for the first time. And Justin Morris, the Yamaha youngster, another schoolboy in the adult ranks. Jamie Dobb, sporting the 92 front plate and mudguard on his Yamaha. Well, there's Paul Malin and the first race winner, number 3, Robbie Herring, side by side. And Dobby giving us a little worried expression. Well, apparently he and Anstey were sharing the same pair of handlebars in that first race. But there's Mr. Anstey with his gardening tools again. But they're on the 32nd board. It's Thorpe on the inside there of Malin. Then it's Herring. Then there's Dobb. Then Anstey's in there as well. The gate drops away. They go with Watley on the inside. Up the straight they charge. 40 mixed 250 and 500 machines in this open class championship. This is the penultimate round here at Crawley. Down the hill they go. It's Watley that leads away. Number 10, Jeremy Watley, the championship leader, has the lead in this second leg. Behind him at the moment, it's Robbie Herring, and Thorpe is back there as well. Those are the top 3, but it's Watley that leads. There you see Herring on the 250 Honda. That machine is so quick. There's Thorpe on the 500 Kawasaki. Then it's Anstey. Behind Anstey, it's Wheeler. Behind Wheeler, it's Malin. Then it's Coyle. Bates, Smith. As they come through, there's Eastwood. There's Banks. Picking their way through. Dobby's had a bad start. He's way down, number 7. Certainly the overnight rain down here has paid dividends because we've got no dust problems whatsoever. Last year, you'll remember that we had tremendous dust problems here at Crawley. Even though the club had a big pond to draw water from, the local authority refused to give them permission. But a permit was granted this year, but they didn't need it because, as we said, it chucked it down the night before. There's the race leader, 1, 2 and 3, you see them. Watley, Herring, Thorpe. 4th place still it is for Anstey. And he's under pressure now from Wheeler. Wheeler's got the KTM wound right up. Malin, number 4, he's under pressure now from number 6, Coyley. Stuart Coyle, the Welshman. Bates, under pressure from Smith. Eastwood, recovering from that wrist injury. Oh, there's a battle on here. Number 30, that's Russ Jarman. Herring, Thorpe, 2nd and 3rd, still chasing the bike of Jeremy Watley, number 10. Down the hill they go. Just look at those ruts beginning to build up in the corner down by the paddock. Up the start they come towards that big tabletop jump. Over they go. Woo-hoo. Great stuff for the spectators. That's the finish. That's the sort of finish we like to see. They can really style it over. And there is the leader. But Herring at the moment on the 250 does not seem to be able to match the power of the 500 in front. Thorpe beginning to slide back a little bit on the 500 Quacker, number 5. Wheeler now past Anstey. Anstey on the ES 500. Wheeler on the KTM. Malin, Coyle, number 6. All 500s. Herring being the first of the 250s. Gerard Smith on the 500 Honda, number 12. Banks, number 14. Now, here's an interesting bike. A Yamaha air-cooled machine of Matt Bates, number 18. He's being caught by Eastwood, number 9. Here's the second of the 250s, number 16 on the Suzuki, Ryan Hunt. Eastwood, number 27, Jarman, and Dobb beginning to get in amongst those riders now. Dobb needs to get closer to the front if he wants to pick up some major points. But here's the man that's after the 20 points, number 10, Jeremy Watley, riding the Action Workshop 500cc Kawasaki. Up through the whoops he comes. 1, 2 together. Herring takes it 2 at a time on the 250. No difference between the bikes. Watley matching Herring speed for speed. Thorpe coming through, about to start lapping the back markers, the slower riders. No difficulty there for Thorpe. Anstey coming through. 4th position at the moment in the race. Stuart Coyle, ooh, the back end a little bit sideways. Paul Malin, this is where Malin crashed in the first race last year and threw away a good position, but he's through quite comfortably now. Brian Wheeler, he comes through, he's in 7th at the moment. These big 500s don't respond and handle so well. Well, look at that. That was Smith nearly getting the back end all sideways. Banksy keeps the KTM square through the jumps. Mark Eastwood, brother, of course, of Scott Eastwood, the 4-stroke rider, and also out in this race as well, number 27. The second of the 250s, number 16, Ryan Hunt. No difficulty through there. The 1990 Supercross champion Matt Bates on the WR500 Yamaha. Then it's Dobby on the water-cooled Yamaha, the 250, the third of the 250s. Well, the winner of the race, it was indeed number 10, Jeremy Watley. Herring just could not match his speed. Thorpe came home in third quite comfortably. Anstey in fourth. Well, they're just checking now. This bike seems to go like a 500. Let's see if it makes as much noise as a 500. Well, the overall result of the 3 races was indeed a third overall for David Thorpe. 2 thirds and an 8th. Jeremy Watley with 2 seconds in the first, second overall, a big bag full of points to take into the last round. And Robbie Herring, overall winner with 2 firsts and the second, is chasing hard in second place. Will he catch him?
Jamie Dobb races the YZ250 Yamaha and consistently beats the open class machines. On its GP debut, Peter Johansson won on the production 1992 Yamaha, available from your dealer soon.
Disaster struck young Craig Prattley at Baldby when he crashed and broke his femur. He'd been picked for the Motocross des Nations team and was leading the 125 British Championship when his season came to an abrupt halt. An operation to pin the brake has been successful, and all at Motovision wish him a speedy recovery.
Sound on there? This is a bit confidential.
At Torrington, Dave Thorpe announced he won't be starting with Kawasaki in 1992. Dave's father Keith obviously thinks it's time for a change, but what hat will he be wearing next year? Talented teenager Lee Morrison is recovering well after an operation to repair dislodged vertebrae in his neck with bone from the hip, and should be back in action next season. His former Castrol Suzuki teammate Mark Bennett was an interested spectator at Crawley, pictured here with race team manager Rob Hooper. Meanwhile, his mechanic Mike Forster has had plenty of time to study the Suzuki 1992 range.
The hard work of these 2 girls promoting the International Supercross event scheduled for mid-December at the NEC in Birmingham has been wasted as the event has been cancelled. Jamie Dobb is to join Paul Malin in the factory Kawasaki team to compete in 250 GPs in 1992, while Justin Morris comes in as the apprentice and 3rd member. There'll be something to interest all the family at the International Motorcycle Show at the NEC Birmingham from the 28th of October until the 3rd of November.